Hey, Nicole. Hey, Mary. How you ladies doing? Haven't seen you guys in forever. Listening, Nicole? Okay. I'm glad. Do you guys mind learning a little bit about an insane asylum that's here in Indiana that's closed down now? Hi, Earthbound. Sure, why not? Okay. I met the author of this book. I have permission. She signed it too. Look, look. Marco. I have 3 of her books. The other 2, one's an encyclopedia of haunted Indiana. Look how thick it is. And I've always wanted to buy this at Barnes and Nobles. Look how big this thing is. And look what she gave me for free. I just dropped it. She gave me this for free. Lizzie Borden coloring book. Let me pick these up. Don't be laughing, Lex. Oh, and this one too. Cursed Circle City, Indianapolis. Her husband wrote some of those. Hey, Captain. Sometime I'll show you guys some of the freaky things I got too. I'll show you one right now. It's 100 years old, okay? Right, Mary? I bought 2 of them. You can't buy them anymore, but these are over 100 years old for real. Real mink. A mink. A mink. They had to stop doing this. What did they tell me? 1904, they had to stop. It's real. It's nice and soft. Yeah, look at its little feet. Right, Mary? It freaks me out if I start looking at it too long. Okay. I'll keep the other things in here for now. You guys may not be able to handle these right now. Maybe too much. This is a history of Central State Hospital for the insane. I know, the little feet, right? Too much, you think? Okay. Oh, I gotta get my glasses on. They're right here. I put them in my purse when I had to run up to the store. There they are. Are you, Captain? I'm thinking I'm going to start taking this and the other one that I bought along with me, like everywhere I go. Batman, your dog? Okay. Let's see. We will. Okay, let me get right where it started. Early mental health. Before hospitals, the insane were left to family and to prisons. If a location was quote unquote lucky enough to have a place for the insane, it was usually no more than a shack, a pen, or a place where afflicted people could run in an enclosed area or be chained. Many times, these places were no better than hog wallows. Wow, isn't that sad, guys? Oh, that's going to be so cute, Captain. Look, that's just in the very beginning before they had places. Tell her to come join us. Early society and the insane. I'll just read a little bit of that. As society progressed, people believed prisons were a logical choice for anyone with behavior deviating from social norms. These were places of punishment, which is what society believed these people needed. Society didn't understand mental health and confinement, and confinement put the rest of the population at ease. The buildings were made to do just this, to scare inmates and put them and anyone viewing them in awe. Later, hospitals would be modeled on prisons in architecture and structure, making it easy to segregate the inside from society. Insane. Then it just goes on, gives more history of it. In Paris, and here is an example of the tranquilizer, which Dr. Benjamin Rush favored. He, who is considered the father of modern psychiatry. Look at that. The tranquilizer. This doctor really liked it. The heck is that? Look at the feet shackled, and then looking in a box, there's a strap around his shoulders or his chest. And where was the first Indianapolis quote unquote crazy house? And the author said she only uses the word crazy when it was like put into the title of something she was reading. Before Central State Hospital was formed, the original crazy house was a log cabin at the corner of New Jersey and Ohio streets. In 1827, the General Assembly set aside Square 22 for use as the state hospital and lunatic asylum. A log cabin was already on the site and was used as quote unquote crazy house. And here is the crazy house camp for the insane. Hi, Debbie L. This was right in our state, Captain Lee. This is in Indiana. There used to be a mental asylum in Logansport, Indiana. I don't know if you knew that, Captain Lee. I was never there, but my grandmother's on my dad's side, his mom's mom was in that. Hey, Kevin. Let's see. There's just a lot of history. This lady did a lot of work, but we're going to just kind of skip over that and find out about the hospital life. Oh, wow. You want to hear who the first patients were? The hospital took longer to build than was expected. So the hospital did not have all of the space it needed, nor were all the facilities up and running. When the doors opened, the hospital was already overcrowded. It had 50 patients already admitted and en route to the hospital. Almost the same number were going to be admitted within a month. When the patients arrived, the staff was underpaid and undertrained. On November 7th, 1848, the hospital opened. The first patients arrived from November 21st to November 23rd, 1848. And they have patients number 1 through 9 right here. And it says, opening an institution to help the mentally ill is different than teaching the caregivers how the people should be treated. Most attendants who spent the majority of the day with patients had no medical training and received no real training from the hospital upon employment. They brought the only knowledge they had from society about the care and treatment of patients to their work. Attendants were used to treating patients the way they had been treated in the poorhouses and in the streets and the prisons. It would take years to change that way of thinking. By then, the institution had outgrown its purpose. Hospital life. In Central State Hospital was one of the first 15 public psychiatric hospitals in the United States. Wow. Listen to a couple of these names. Originally, the hospital was modeled after other hospitals that were considered successful in Ohio's Columbus Hospital for the Insane, New York State Lunatic Asylum at Utica, the Kentucky Hospital, known under many names such as Fayette Hospital, Massachusetts Worcestershire State Hospital, and the Kentucky Lunatic Asylum. Lunatic. Okay, let's see. Hey, Earthbound, Debbie L. Let's see here. From 1848 to 1888, the Indiana Hospital for the Insane was the only institution which provided treatment and care to patients in Indiana. From day one, this hospital was ill-equipped to handle the influx of patients. When it opened, it was not prepared for the amount of people who came to them. Even though upgrades and additions for beds were made throughout its tenure, it could not handle the number of patients as Indiana's population grew. Patient successes. Among the successes mentioned is a woman who had illness, several family issues, and who suffered anxiety and loss of sleep, went to Central State Hospital overwhelmed with gloom. She was given proper medical treatment and her mind calmed. When she was given light employment, amusements, and lots of exercise in the fresh air, walking and carriage riding for 4 months, she was restored and returned home. Okay, Kevin. I know, Captain. Me too. Let's see. A farmer was placed in jail for religious excitement due to Mormonism. He was sleepless, noisy, violent, and raving. Through solitude, baths, medicines, and diet, he calmed and his restraints were removed. With exercise and labor, he was cured in 3 months. A young woman was admitted for 2 months. She was maniacal and gave herself bleeding injuries. The woman was incoherent, approaching dementia, lost her memory, and had no emotion and no interest in anything. With the use of remedies, she was restored. They give surgery, deaths, disease, deaths. We're not going to go through all that. Oh, wait. Listen to this one now. Occasionally, patients would kill other patients. In 1886, a quiet man was sleeping on a bench in the grove when another more violent patient kicked up a slat from the fence and struck him with it, killing him instantly. Staff said the two men never quarreled, but the violent man stated, "He was my enemy. I had to kill him." And then in 1896, a patient hit another with a chair, which irreparably fractured his skull, killing him. On the morning of July 9th, 1919, Thomas Edwards, a patient, attacked Mrs. Mary L. Kelly, a forewoman of the laundry, and Fred Pfister, another patient, with a pipe iron. They both died. The attack seemed to be without warning or provocation. Other deaths due to understaffing also occurred. May 16th, 1904, a patient died of scalding in a bath. The male attendant had been by himself from Tuesday to Saturday for the most part, aside from times when he was sleeping and when the night watchman took over. The attendant had a patient working with him to bathe another patient. The patient due for bathing had been stripped. The attendant stepped out to remove soiled clothing, as was the rule, thereby breaking the rule of leaving two patients in the bathing area. The attendant stated he knew he was breaking one rule, but upholding another, and that if I had help on the ward, it would not have been necessary to have left the bathroom. When the attendant returned, the water was on, the patient to be bathed was in the tub, and the other patient was standing beside the tubs. The attendant asked his helper why he turned on the water, but got no response. The attendant asked for someone from Ward A, which was nearby, to call a doctor. Dr. Waters, now that's weird, right? Hi, Jenny D1. Reading about mental hospital. Dr. Waters, but spelled with 2 T's, stated it couldn't have been too long for the patient to be in the water because the flesh was not coked, COKED. The attendant was subsequently discharged from the hospital, although Dr. Waters didn't think the attendant had done anything wrong. In the 1980s and 1990s, up to 18 cases were found to be due to understaffing and negligence. Yeah, this place stayed open a long time. Like 100 years, if not longer. And then unaliving, hi, Justina. It says suicides were not uncommon, but they were not out of control. It was always less than 1% of the patients who committed suicide with usually 2 to 10 patients per year who did that. The first 2 happened in 1852. One man killed himself with a handkerchief around his throat. Over the years, patients hanged themselves, killed other patients, and died by a variety of self-induced means, sometimes unintentional. In one case, thank you, Jenny D1. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. I love listening to your stories. Keep the faith. Thank you, Jenny. Little Minky thanks you too. Yes, it's a real mink. Over 100 years old. I bought it at the Bazaar Bazaar. I have 2 of them. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Close your ears, guys. You may not want to hear this. One particularly gruesome attempted suicide involved a woman who had been addicted to opium before she was admitted to the hospital. She gave herself a stomach wound and pulled out 4 feet of intestine. The wound was closed with a suture. The hernia mass was carbolized and returned to the body cavity, and the external wound closed by sutures. She survived. That horrible? Never heard of such a thing. Here's 2 of the hospitals, Indiana State Hospital. Evansville State Hospital is on the top, and then Logansport, where my grandma's mom was. That's Evansville. And this is Logansport. That is horrible, isn't it? Let's see. There's a lot of history in here. This lady is a very detailed writer. I mean, she goes all out. And let's see, I know I found some patient histories in here. She's going to do a follow-up book if she can find more patients, get their info. Okay, patient life. At the beginning of the hospitals, patients were classified into 2 types of insanity: criminals and all the others. During the early days, the hospital was locked. This was to ensure the patients would not wander off or hurt themselves or others. Segregation of male and females was normal until after about 1900, when they were in the same building but in different wards. Patients had little to no privacy and even less personal space. A patient could expect a highly regimented and scheduled day with little variation, and with staff always looking on. Let's see. Women, healthcare for women varied somewhat from the men. Some patients were admitted for short periods. Women seemed to come in more for the stress and exhaustion of everyday lives. Who can blame them? Cooking, cleaning, childcare, social norms, and options were very different than they are today. Some women lost their major breadwinner through accidents, divorce, abandonment, or the Civil War. See, this goes back. Many times, once they had de-stressed, they went home. They were also put in asylums as a result of giving birth to illegitimate children, problematic miscarriages. Note that this is not the stress of having a miscarriage, but the simple fact that a woman may have had several. And then from R, and then undiagnosed postnatal depression, lack of wanting sex or wanting sex too much. In the 1860s, clothing allowances for women were 2 strong gowns, 2 flannel petticoats, 2 pairs of woolen stockings, 1 pair of shoes, 2 handkerchiefs, at least 2, how do you pronounce that? CHEMISES, and a large warm shawl or cloak, 2 nightgowns, and 2 quilted skirts. Clothing for men included woolen jeans, material for coats, pants, and vests, cheviot for shirts, and cotton flannel for undergarments. Let me get a sip here, guys. We don't really have much. Hey, Danielle, you're awake. Haven't heard from you in forever. Reading about mental hospital in Indiana that was open for like 150 years. Fractured intentions. Routine and structure. In 1851, you could be admitted to Central State Hospital for no less than 39 reasons. Typically, in the early years, patients would be declared insane by a family member and or doctor and sheriff. Once at the hospital, the patients were evaluated and sent to live on appropriate wards. First, there was a distinction by ward between quiet and tidy patients, quiet but untidy patients, and loud and untidy patients. As patients progressed in their treatment, they were put on the appropriate wards. Sometimes the chronic stayed in their same wards for years. Hi, LMN. We haven't seen a lot of you, Danielle. I know you've been busy because of your parents and everything, helping them out and taking care of your own 4 kids and a home. She's a hardworking woman. A good daughter. The routine became rising between before for breakfast between 4:30 and 5:30 a.m. for attendance, and shortly after that for patients. Breakfast consisted of coffee, tea, or cocoa, and oatmeal or sometimes bread. Then it was off to their tasks for good and mobile patients. The others would have to wait to be taken outside. Hey, nurse of all trades. Lunch came at 12:30 p.m. And would have been food from the farm, some sort of meat, vegetables, milk, and bread. Here's just a little blurb down at the bottom. Miss Case 8108. I'll read that. And then I'll show you what some of the forms looked like. One unfortunate case that shows how desperately the mentally ill needed options came in 1952. A patient known as Miss Case 1801 had already spent 63 years in the institution and was the one person who spent the longest time in any Indiana institution. Oh my gosh. This reminds me of my little Dorothy that I've told you guys about from the nursing homes. She wasn't insane or anything, but she grew up in, she said, the state hospital because her mother died. Their father was real mean and was beating them. She came from a large family. She had infantile paralysis, which is polio, and her one arm like this was always up like this. She couldn't use it, you know. It was from when she had that as a little kid. Yes, Mary, it was so sad. I think of my little Dorothy. And she craved attention so much. She would, wait. She would wait for me in the lobby there when I, was working there. And she would sit there waiting and waiting and waiting. And when I came in, she would grab my hand. No, she'd grab my arm. She would grab my arm with a death grip and be following me to the office where I worked. And it was so sad. But yes, that would be weird if they mentioned her in here. She was admitted January 17th, 1889, when Benjamin Harrison was president and the Eiffel Tower was about to be unveiled. When Miss Case 8101 arrived, a chestnut horse brought the 19-year-old woman up the curved drive to her new home. Her original file was lost, and there were only a few notations since 1926, one which was from her sister saying what to do when Miss Case 8101 died. It was assumed Miss Case 8101 was brought in during a time when people were admitted for being, quote unquote, queer or not right. Miss Case was an average child in a middle-class Irish family and spent a lot of time alone, writing letters to people her parents did not know. She was shy and didn't care for people, fearing their criticism. When she was 10 years old, her father died due to a complete financial loss. Her mother provided for the family, and Miss Case finished 8th grade. Shortly afterwards, the family moved to Kansas City, and Miss Case's nervousness became more pronounced. The doctors said she needed familiarity, so they moved back to Indianapolis, but it didn't help. Miss Case came to Central State Hospital with extreme disturbances and religious hallucinations. Later, she seemed to mellow into a pleasant, chatty woman. It was believed that if she'd been able to have electroconvulsive therapy treatment, she might have fared better, but the knowledge came too late. Here are some of the forms, the clothing requisition for men and for women. Sometimes the family provided these garments, other times the hospital provided them. I don't know if you guys can see that. Mary. He's right here. He's a mink. Patients were then back at their jobs. This is back to the routine, or taken outside when the weather permitted. There were always staff shortages in the women's ward, and to ease the burden, sometimes patients were given paraldehyde. Dinner, or tea as they call it, was at 6 p.m., and the food was much the same as lunch. Bedtime began around 8 or 9 o'clock. Patients slept on beds, but when space and equipment were hard to come by, they also had to sleep on cotton or feather ticks, thin mattresses that were placed on the floor. Here is a couple of pictures. There's a dentist office and a beauty salon circa 1920. The beauty salon. I don't know, that just looks creepy. Shelly. Hey, Lark. Yeah, she was doing something. If she goes live, obviously let me know. Aren't they creepy? Sis Littlefoot, this is where we got you, right? Hi, Alicia. My boo foster daughter. Yeah, this was the day we picked up Shelly from the doctor. That's where we got her. Never told you that, Shell. And it says race issues, that many people believed that African Americans were denied treatment at Central State Hospital. They go into more about that. There's quite a few things on that. But it says many people believe that they were denied treatment. The question of admitting colored people is what the African Americans were referred to at that time. Colored people to the institution came up in 1855 and again in 1856. The superintendent thought they should be admitted, but that it would be absolutely necessary to build rooms isolated and purposely for them. This does not prove they were admitted in 1856 and certainly shows they had not been admitted before 1856. No records exist of any separate colored area, although their treatment on the wards could have easily been segregated by the staff. And they go into what they know about that. Hey, Lark, I don't know if I said hi. It's no, LMN. It's Indiana Central Hospital for the insane. It didn't close down until like, I think early 2000s or something. It started like in 1850. The kitchens, the diet. The kitchens also benefited from the patients. The workers and patients prepared and cooked food, and they cleaned kitchens and dining rooms. They were also employed to take trays of food to other patients. Patients unable to eat with the rest of the population ate in their rooms. Later, separate kitchens were built for men and women's wards, and trays were brought from the kitchen through dumbwaiters and through tunnels to the wards. The hospital began to use a sick diet for patients who were on diet restrictions and required specific foods. In the 1950s, a freestanding kitchen dining room used by patients and staff was built. Here is an old recipe from the kitchens of Central State Hospital. Here you can see it's actually in someone's handwriting. Do you guys hear singing in the background? That's Dave practicing for a concert he has coming. Doesn't he sound good? Could you see that? This is Central State coffee. Central State coffee cake. 1 pan. You use 1.5 cups shortening, 2.5 cups sugar, 5 eggs, vanilla, 5 cups flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and 2.5 cups sour cream. And then the topping is brown sugar, butter, flour, cinnamon, and nuts. It says the patients seemed to eat well, although there were allegations of mismanagement of food funds and substandard food served. On Thanksgiving Day, 1885, 1,800 pounds of turkey, 3 barrels of cranberries, 200 gallons of oysters. Mary. He's hitting that high note. Wow, 200. I would like to be there. 200 gallons of oysters and a large supply of the necessary accessories, quote unquote, were served to the patients. According the 1886 yearly report, milk was used freely, each patient having as much as he wished. Additionally, 1,120 quarts of strawberries from the farm were consumed. 2 train carloads of watermelons, apples, grapes, oranges, and bananas were also eaten. No, he's not. Not watching that. I'm not sure what it is. Beef, bread, and potatoes were the basis of the diet, as were other items from the farm and outside vendors. Early in the hospital's life, a typical day meal would consist of breakfast meat, hash, bread and butter, coffee, tea, and milk. WL. Dinner or lunch is boiled potatoes, roast fresh pork, sweet potatoes, cabbage, pickles, and ginger cake. Supper, peaches. Oh, I guess the same thing, but then peaches, bread and butter and tea added for supper. Feeble people on a special diet had choices of a special diet menu which contained milk, cream, tea, coffee, chocolate, beef tea, beef essence, eggs, oysters, poultry, bread, and fresh meats. That was in 1886, okay? Then comes 1959, and the menu changed. For breakfast, it was beef stew, hot rolls, pickles, fruit jello, beverages, cornmeal, bacon, oranges, coffee or milk, buttered toast, French toast, oatmeal, scrambled and fried eggs. Dinner, and it says, notice it was still not called lunch, was ham, steak, roast pork, baked chicken, fish sticks, corned beef brisket, and roast beef. And supper includes sausage and creamed macaroni. Domino's are beats tonight. Let's see. Creamed macaroni, Braunschweiger and beans, vegetable soup and cornbread, salmon salad, bologna, and creamed beef on toast. Substitutions were made when there was a lack of a product or lack of help to prepare it. And then by 1961, a typical menu was breakfast fruit juice, cold cereal, hot cakes, butter and syrup, coffee and milk. Dinner, noticed it's still not called lunch. Baked ham, browned potatoes, green beans, bread and butter, orange jello cubes, beverage. Supper, chili crackers, lettuce and oil vinegar dressing, bread and butter, apricot upside down cake, and beverage. Let's see, they go on to more and more and more. I'm going to go to some of the treatments, what they had for treatments. Talks about their hobbies, recreation. Mary. Here it says the hospital and farm colony. The farm helped defray cost from 1848 to 1968. Farmland extended from Vermont Street to Washington Street. and about halfway from Mormon Street to Tibbs Avenue. The north side was farmed, the south side was pasture for livestock in the 1800s. The southwest side of the property also contained a farm field. And here's the kitchen building as it looked in 1940. Wait, let me see. In Central State Hospital Colony right there. You guys didn't hear that, did you? Then they give an aerial shot. Talk about the staff. I want to get to the treatments. More of the staff, Board of Trustees. Gives the rules. Oh, it says, here's a view of how nurses' shoes changed. Left is a 1910s pair of shoes, right a 1970s pair of shoes. Nurse of all trades. Here's some of the nurses. Oh, okay, Debbie. Okay, talks about the different departments. The drug room, the marking room where they marked all their clothes, social service room, activities room, chaplain department, information desk, a bunch of different. Persons under the age of 21 years old will not be employed in any department of the hospital. Age, height, and weight should be accurately given on date application is signed. Misrepresentation in anything connected with this application when discovered will meet the prompt discharge from the service. And here it shows right here. This was your application. And you had to sign this, your contract signed by the employees. You had to sign this in order to work there. And it says the general rule, as the insane are confided to our care for protection as well as treatment, no person will be employed here in any capacity who is not willing to do all in his or her power to aid us. Any abuse or neglect of a patient coming under their notice, it will be their special duty to report it at once to the superintendent, who can always be seen for that purpose. Should it at any time appear that abuse or neglect has been witnessed and not brought to the notice of the superintendent or medical officer, it will result in the immediate dismissal of all the parties concerned. Persons governed by the so-called honor that prevents reporting the abuse of a helpless, insane patient are not wanted at this hospital. And this you had to sign. Here's your contract. I hereby promise to obey the rules of the institution, to faithfully execute the orders that may be given me by my superior officers, and to perform any duty assigned to me, although not of the kind for which I am chiefly engaged. I consider myself bound to promote the objects of the institution, to do my best to further the recovery of the patients, assist in all undertakings for their amusement, and to secure their comfort and safety. I also pledge myself not to bring into the institution or the grounds thereof any intoxicating liquors, to be careful of its property, to avoid all gossip, and they have that in capitals, as to its inmates or affairs, and to endeavor by my own language and deportment to sustain its reputation. I certify that I have read the rule printed on the back of this application and fully understand that it is my duty to report all cases of abuse or neglect of patients to the superintendent, for which I hereby agree to do. I agree to give 1 week's notice should I wish to resign my position. I acknowledge the right of the superintendent to discharge me without warning for acts of harshness or cruelty to patients, intemperance, disobedience to orders, unsatisfactory services, violation of any portion of this agreement, or other cause which may seem justifiable. Okay, we'll read this short thing on the unfortunate Miss Rayburn. Right, Debbie? How it does, you're right. Miss Rayburn worked at Central State Hospital from 1909 to 1921. According to her, she worked 12-hour shifts and didn't take vacations many times because of staffing shortages. She worked her way up from attendant to a night usher, which is a watchman. Her tenure ended in 1921 after she was discharged by Dr. Edenharder. In a statement to the Board of Charities at the time of her discharge, Miss Rayburn said she'd come back from vacation early because staff was expected to be on duty on Thanksgiving Day. Dr. Edenharder called her into his office and presented her with a list of rules that were meant for her alone. She resented being singled out because she felt she was doing her job. Due to her position, Miss Rayburn was not someone who mixed with employees, although she believed she treated everyone equally. She was given privileges because of her service and position, and feared other people were jealous of her. She was to lock up at 9:45 p.m., and if anyone hadn't entered the building, they were locked out. Many times, Miss Rayburn said, she'd lock the doors when she saw people coming up the steps at 9:45 p.m. because they were late. She believed this gained her ill will. Miss Rayburn also stated that Dr. Edenharter would employ Catholics, and if you weren't Catholic, you were out of favor. She said Dr. Stockton was overbearing and had other physicians do her work, especially since she hurt her leg in 1919. In the same year, Dr. Stockton hurt her other leg and was bedridden, drawing a salary but not working. Nothing seems to have come of these charges. Miss Rayburn was not asking for reinstatement. She just wanted the Board of State Charities to understand what was going on in the hospital. Dr. Edenharter stated in Miss Rayburn's discharge papers that she had been in violation of certain rules, and she had a disregard for the instructions of the superintendent. When she was called to his office, her language was of such character that I determined that the period of forbearance had been reached. And here's a picture of the recommended plan for the infirmary ward and the Central Hospital's first building for men. And come here, baby. We got to respect the elders. Are you still here, Danielle? Did you see the mink? Over 100 years old. I have 2 of them. Nobody else does. Maybe someday it'll be a prize for something. No. Here's one of the contraptions they used for a treatment. You're not going to enter, Mary? Talks about the early drugs, cure rates, moral therapy, industrial therapy, hydrotherapy, visitors, malarial treatment. Ooh, syphilis. Look here. Here's a picture. Man with secondary syphilis. And then bottom left, drawing of a woman with syphilis. Bottom right, drawing of a man with syphilis. Ugh. But that's a real picture up at the top. And then there's some drawings. And here's a visitor's pass you would get when you went in to see someone. You would fill that out. Probably pin it on your clothes or something. Yeah, Mary. They talk about shock therapy, insulin shock, which is an insulin coma they put you in to treat schizophrenia. Ew. Hypnotic stimulants and other drugs. Yeah, was. Here is types of insanity. Guess what one type of insanity was? I'm not going to say it, but it starts with an M. Self-pleasuring. They considered that insanity. I'll read you the couple of paragraphs on the bottom of the page for this. Isn't it? We know now that some of the types of insanity the hospital reported in the yearly reports are symptoms of mental illness are not considered a mental illness today. Each yearly report focused on one or two types of insanity and provided an overview and treatment for it. In 1851 and several other years, the subject was self-pleasuring, which was believed a symptom of schizophrenia. The doctors felt they could not give the patients relief, citing Dr. N.D. Benedict, superintendent of the New York Lunatic Asylum. Dr. Benedict believed that the first indication of self-pleasuring was religious excitement because people afflicted with the impulse were worried about their immortal souls due to their actions. The doctor believed over years that the self-pleasurer, would become shy, timid, nervous, and unhappy. It was thought men were of small physiques and the women became emaciated, but had quote unquote gay and voluptuous manners. Doctors believed one could tell if a man was a self-pleasurer by the fact that he didn't want to do manly things, example, sports and walking, and would prefer to be sedentary and read trashy novels instead of running off energy and excitability. All this led to deterioration of the mind. To prevent this insanity, boys were never to be in the same bed together or allowed to linger in bed. In 1858, the treatment for men was conium and iron, baths, and a flesh brush. Oh, good night, Danielle. Get a good sleep. You need it. And a flesh brush or a coarse towel to help restore the body, but it is rarely permanent. Other treatments included mechanical restraints, aphrodisiacs, example, conium, camphor, and belladonna for men and women. Additionally, there is some evidence that cauterizing the urethra was done elsewhere, but as no proof of efficacy was produced, it was not performed at Central State Hospital for the insane. Cold baths and blistering were sometimes used. There's that one movie, Danielle. I used to love watching it because it was about an insane asylum, an old black and white movie from the 40s or 50s. Does anybody know what that movie was? I'll still never forget. I was a kid when I watched it, and they had them in these tubs, and they had these lids on these tubs that came up like this, and you could only see like their neck and their head. Anybody know what I'm talking about? It's one of my favorite movies. I haven't seen it in forever. I want to watch it. They were, Mary. Oh, and then another type of insanity was spirit rappings. Olivia de Havilland was in it. Of course, probably most of you don't know who she is either. I knew. I was just trying to keep you, Danielle. I know, go to sleep. Nobody's in here old enough to remember, probably. Yes. I'll probably start a lot of people getting jealous, you know it? Probably be the new thing on YouTube. Yeah, the mink. Everybody wanting a mink. It will bring people to your stream. Just get yourself a mink. This is in 1851, a new cause of insanity, spirit rappings, was entered into the Central State Report that year. And for many years, people afflicted in this way were influenced by mediums, and therefore they lost sleep, walked about in delirium, and approached dementia. A mink. It's real. For real. It's not a joke. It's a real one. Hi, A.L. Skinner, 1981. Hey, sweetie. Hi. Welcome. Want to see the other one? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Shorty style ponytail. Let me mark the spot. I took this one because I felt sorry for it and she gave me a discount. I felt sorry because it's creeping me out right now. What was it missing? Ah. Oh. No, you're cute. You're cute. You both are cute. I think part of its tail was gone. It's a taxidermy. Hiya, Heartmade Wise. I bought these from the Bazaar, where I bought these books and everything a couple months ago. Yes, Mary. I paid for both of these. They're over 100 years old. You can't get these anymore, Mary. They're against the law. I got two of them. Nope, not 2 for 1. Nope. I paid individual. But she had so many and I couldn't pick. And so she's like, I'll give you a discount for the second one if you want to get another one. So she did. Yes, the snake pit. Yes, LMN. Have you seen it? She has 2 of these. You haven't seen it? I don't know. I really liked it. One day I might have a giveaway, like trivia or something. She saw you coming. Well, I have her card, Alicia. Okay, now these I got from another lady, okay? I will show you guys, please. Don't be too freaked out because I guess it is a thing. All right. This is from a different person. Wait. Oh, okay. They were in here, what I was going to show you. Okay, now don't be scared, but the girl I bought these from, these were her animals, okay? And they died a natural life. Isn't it cute though? I think it's pretty. Guinea hen, I think it is. Ellen, no. Hey, we're loving them. We're loving them from beyond. And I bought this little guy too. It's just their heads. It's a thing now, guys. For real, it's a thing. These are popular. Actually, Hart, I'm glad you asked. Probably hot glue into a shell. I have to find the perfect shell. Yeah, it's just their heads. It's just their heads. Well, okay then. Yeah, see? Just their heads. Margot. No, sadly, Margot, this has happened down at my dad's with some of their chickens. It's horrible. That's a good idea, LMN. That is a good idea. Alicia, which one do you like? Mary. Some people are into them. I just got them for the heck of it. I don't know, because it was different. I don't know. Marco. Well, you may get lucky. You might win them sometime. You never know. Oh, here's the bag. I gotta put them in here. Because I'm afraid Garnet will get them. You know? He'll pass. Let's see if there was anything. I had something to show Liza, but I'll have to wait until I see her sometime. Okay, Alicia. Okay, I'm going to wait on that till another time. Some of these things are really cute, though. Yeah, I mean, you do a giveaway. You never know. This little doll was cute, I thought. Sideshow Vintage. That was her booth at Bazaar Bazaar. Can you see it very well? And she's in a mall in Chesterton. Let's see. What's another thing? I don't want to show everything at one time. I don't know why, but I really liked this doll too. Look at the way her arms are. She's so cute. Isn't she cute? Deer heads. Yep, loads of beaks. Mary. What would the title be? But I do have some cool things here to show Liza sometime. I know she's into these and sells them. Show you guys one more thing, okay? And I got a deal on him because I said I wasn't going to pay that much for him. I said, no, I'll just put these back. So she hurried up and gave me a discount. Oh, there's a hole in him. I thought it was cute, a little hand puppet. Hi, Alicia. How are you? Ooh. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Mary. Hi, LMNOP. Where did Danielle go? Oh, I can't. Let's see who else is here. Hey, Marco, where did you go? Where did you go, Miss Marco? I'm good evil eyes. Okay, we're going to put them back for now. That's enough for one evening, right? I am keeping the minks close. Don't be afraid, Ellen, man. They're not going to hurt. Won't hurt you. They've been around for over 100 years. At least these, you know. Oh, could you somebody check see if Carolyn's live yet? Let's go, hurry. No, these used to be the thing when I was growing up. Some of you know what I'm talking about, the mink stole. You'd see that in the movies and everything. They'd be going around. Oh, see my mink stole. See my mink stole. Miss Scarlet, my mink stole. It was all the rage. Oh, there she is. Hi, Carolyn. Carolyn, you remember mink stoles, right? Yes, ma'am. Over 100 years old. You can't get these anymore. They're against the law. From the Bizarre Bazaar. I got a discount on him because of his tail being missing. See, the tail should be long like this. They're the real thing too. They're not fake or fake fur, faux fur. No, I bought these, Carolyn, at the Bizarre Bazaar. No. I just didn't show anybody yet, Had to get people prepared. Didn't want them to think I'm weird or anything, It's normal. You going live now? Isn't that amazing, though? Think of that. Over 100 years ago, these things were alive, running around, probably had, families. I'm not going to take them in the tub. Oh, Carolyn, I'll show you the little doll that I got there that day, too. Can you imagine? I've kept all of these secret for a couple of months. I'll show you. It's up this bag. Just a little plastic doll, but from the Bizarre Bazaar. Cute, right? Cute little guy. I bought this stuff, Carolyn. I bought it. Nobody sent it. I bought it. I think that was October we went, wasn't it? Wasn't it beginning of October or something? We went. It's all real. It's all real. I bought it all myself. We were reading a little bit of this, Carolyn. Remember, I told you I met the authors? I bought 3 of her books. Mary Horror Mail. Yeah, she signed it and everything. She signed it. I'll show you what else, Carolyn. I showed them another one of her books. Her and her husband wrote. Indianapolis Haunted. Look at this, Carolyn. And Encyclopedia of Haunted Indiana. She wrote it. She wrote about it. And then she wrote, all this. Her and her husband went to all these places, okay? And here she gave me this for free. Since I bought those 3 books, she gave me this for free. Hi, Christine Ferrera. Tells the story. See? Sometimes, Carolyn, sometimes. Oh, it's cool, right? I think she said, Lexi, didn't she say one of these was from 1800 something? One of these minks. Yeah, she said 1800 to 1904 at the latest, but she said they're all 1800s. So they are real antique. And they are very pretty. Now that it's getting cold, start wearing them when I go out as a scarf, Okay, Alicia, good night, sweetie. I'm going to go too. See you at Carolyn's when she goes live. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.